For too many years, families of children with devastating illnesses have felt helpless as they watch their child suffer. Today, they're taking matters into their own hands and finally finding relief treating their child with cannabis. These are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh man, I hope everyone's doing well and getting ready for the holidays. But as you guys know, as we've been talking about even since the beginning of the month is Epilepsy Awareness Month.
Yes.
And we're still pushing forward. We're still advocating for those who are going through it, just like our son, and even friends, family members that are going through it, especially the little ones. You know, we keep them in our prayers, and we're just pushing the message and get everyone to really support and advocate like we are, like for any other child, you know. So tonight we have a great guest. His name is Dario Herrera, and he has over 25 years of nonprofit speaking, branding, and marketing, as well as leadership experience. His background comes from working with A-list celebrities and ranging from Doherty to Pitbull to Lil Wayne's, and now he's in the cannabis industry, but more or less on the side of a non-for-profit organization called Mickie's Miracle. He's the executive director, and he's also the founder of Legend Studio and Digital. So he's bringing all those talents to get the message out and the awareness about epilepsy because of Mickie. So welcome, Dario.
Thank you, Osiris, and thank you, Nina. I appreciate the work you guys are doing. I appreciate your story and your journey with Aiden and how you guys are paying it forward to really educate folks who may not be aware about the dangers of pediatric epilepsy and the urgency in which we have to react to a epilepsy diagnosis in a young child, because we have learned through experience and through our advocacy that every day counts.
Yes.
So we certainly appreciate the work you're doing, and certainly are honored by the invitation to be on your show.
Yes, thank you for what you guys are doing as well. Please, if you can share with the audience about Mickie's Miracle, how did that come about? Who's Mickie? Just in case for our audience who are not aware. And also, how did you come on board to join them and helping to spread the message?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So Mickie is Michaela Grease, and she was born on October 26th of 2011. She's now 9. She had her first seizure when she was 3. And by the time she was 9 months old, she had failed over 8 anti-seizure medications and protocols and was diagnosed with intractable epilepsy and infantile spasms. As each month passed, Christy, who's her mom and also the CEO and visionary founder of Mickie's Miracles, realized that something was gravely wrong. And she felt like she was waging a war and could not get answers, like she was fighting a ghost, because everywhere she went, she was getting met with either resistance or non-answers or things that just didn't match what her soul was telling her about her child. And then through a mutual friend, she got referred to CHOC, which is Children's Hospital of Orange County, and a specific pediatric epileptologist there. We commonly refer to her as Dr. Z, Dr. Mary Zupont. And Dr. Z really gave Christy, for the first time, the answers that they were looking for, even answers that they didn't want to hear. And the day before Mickie's first birthday, she had brain surgery to remove the parietal, the occipital, and temporal lobes of the left hemisphere of her brain in order to combat the seizures. Wow. And the goal was to preserve her quality of life. And Christy and even the doctors, never thought that Mickie could be quote unquote normal. And today she's, a 9-year-old fashionista. She's sassy. She's funny. She's got an incredible sense and passion for life. She's incredibly unique. She plays soccer. She swims. She sings. She's learning to play instruments, and really is a miracle. And as Christy shared her story, and as other folks became aware of the story, they started coming to Christy to understand her journey and what Christy was able to do to advocate on behalf of Mickie. And that's how it was born. That's how Mickie's Miracles was born. It was born very organically. Christy never set out to create a nonprofit. but she saw an opportunity as she prayed and realized that God was giving her a calling, and that calling was to help families with children suffering from pediatric epilepsy get the support they need, get access to the highest quality of care, the highest possible urgent diagnosis, and to really support them every step of the way, from advocacy to financial support to even emotional support. And that's how Mickie's Miracles was born. I was introduced to Mickie's Miracles 2 years ago, roughly, by a mutual friend who was a legislator, and they were looking for a marketing company. And I had a child on the autism spectrum. I was in denial as a dad when his mom first told me that we should get him diagnosed. So I identified very quickly with the idea of having a quote unquote special needs child with a neurological disease. And Christy and I, hit it off well. We understood the messaging very well. They hired me initially to handle the marketing messaging and social media. And roughly 8 to 10 months ago, they were looking for an executive director to allow Christy to focus more on the vision of the organization, not so much on day-to-day execution, although she's very involved, hands-on with the families that we bring into Mickie's Miracles and advocate for. She needed some support, and they extended me the opportunity to work as executive director with Mickie's Miracles. And I had a background in marketing and messaging. I had a legislative background, both at the local and national, at the state level. And I had also worked with a number of healthcare organizations at the local level in Clark County, which is Las Vegas, Nevada, which gave me a unique insight into the 3 pillars that Mickie's Miracles works on. The first one is, helping families gain access to care and diagnosis urgently. The second is increasing awareness about the dangers of epilepsy and the need for funding. And the third is, helping Mickie's Miracles be, financially independent, so you can provide resources for the families as they look to access care and, get support as they need to make sure their children are cared for. Because our mission is to make sure that every child gets to be seizure-free. And our vision is for a world that every child gets to be a child. Every child gets to not only live, but gets to have their childhood preserved, so that they can dance, so that they can play soccer, so they can swim, so they can play, so they can experience what it's like to be a child. And that's not often easy, given the treatment protocols, the frequent visits in and out of the hospital, and of course the emotional issues that are created for families around these beautiful children who have seizing brains and who are at risk, a great risk because of it.
Wow,
that's just
we're getting
amazing.
chills because we know exactly how that feels.
We actually visualize and internalize that process of just dealing with doctors who just didn't have the answers. It's usually it's genetic, it's environmental, and it's never something concrete you can hold on to. And like you said, you're chasing a ghost. Mm-hmm. It's either you're chasing a ghost from the sense of dosaging from medication, or you're chasing a ghost and trying to get the answers, and you never come up with answers. You just get up and just I just got to do something. I just can't sit here and wait for the answers to come to me. So as a parent, I totally understand. Now, for you, coming on board with not only with your child, but taking on another child, because it's pretty much, once you build up that relationship with the family, you have this connection. And how strong has the bond between you and the family has become now that you are on the inside?
I mean, I consider Christy and Gabe, who is Mickie's dad, like brothers and sisters to me, honestly. And I consider Mickie part of my family. I haven't spent a lot of time with Mickie personally. Yeah, obviously, we've had COVID issues, and and that's important to make sure that the children and the family are not exposed, especially in this high risk situation. But the times I spent with her have been just magical. Really, we've swam together. We've eaten meals together. We played together. She refers to me as partner, which is the sweetest thing on the planet. And there's an unmistakable bond there. And I've come to know Christy and Gabe really well, and to see their passion for Mickie and how they've been able to really fight through the challenges of, everything involved between travel and frequent visits to the hospital and medications and, all the things that are involved with being the parent of a high needs child, and to see them support one another and to love one another and to, raise a household, because they have, 3 children, 2 boys and Mickie, and to see how they do that in a loving environment where it's supportive, open, transparent, loving, kind, forgiving, and just beautiful, really. So I've become quite close to Christy and Gabe. I consider them family, and I love Michaela. I love Mickie. To be around her is to be full of life and to understand that, she doesn't see any limitations on anything she can do. And she has this playful passion for life that I think a lot of children are missing. Pediatric epilepsy might have its, challenges, and obviously create special opportunities for her in terms of treatment and school and access to healthcare and stuff like that. But one thing for sure, nothing's going to hold Mickie back. And that's inspiring to see. And it's really inspiring to be around.
Wow, it's an amazing story. Now, let me retract the timeline for the listeners. So she started having seizures at 3 months or 3 years old? 3 months?
No, 3 months.
3 months.
3 months.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and it was one day before she turned a year old that she had brain surgery. She happened to be a candidate for brain surgery. Not all children are.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
she happened to be a good candidate, and basically removed the occipital, parietal, and temporal lobes of her left hemisphere of her brain. That was, the area of her brain that doctors found were causing the seizures. And here she is. She's 9 years old, and she's been seizure-free 8 years.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Obviously she goes for monitoring, and she's still on anti-seizure medication, and they have their own treatment protocols that they formulated working closely with their doctors, but she's now 8 years seizure-free.
Wow.
Yeah, bless her heart. She's so fortunate.
So let me, for the listeners, let's clarify exactly, and I may pronounce this wrong, but what exactly is a epileptologist, basically the epilepsy doctor that you spoke of?
Yeah, epileptologists
Yes.
Are doctors that are specialists in epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
You have obviously neurologists, you have epileptologists, and obviously you have primary care physicians and pediatricians. And it's our feeling that as families are looking to find substantive answers that are meaningful and that can put each child on a path for a real diagnosis and real protocols for treatment, it's incumbent upon parents to get in front of a pediatric epileptologist, preferably at a level 4 epilepsy center. Why? Because they have specialized training. They know what to look for. They know what to monitor. They have experience with treatment protocols. And that's something that neurologists don't always have. Certainly primary care physicians or pediatricians don't have that same level of expertise. So part of our mission, in fact, it's the most important part of our mission, is to get families to a level 4 epilepsy center as urgently as possible for diagnosis and for the highest level of treatment possible. And it's our vision that every child gets to experience a result like Mickie. Wow. Right. And obviously every protocol for treatment is going to be different. Some children will be candidates for brain surgery. Others will be treated differently with a combination of holistic medicine, with anti-seizure medication, with diet, with occupational therapy, with speech therapy, and what we call a holistic approach to treating pediatric epilepsy. But our vision is that every child gets to experience seizure freedom. And we will not rest until every child, not just in the United States, but in the world, has an opportunity to live a seizure-free life and just be a child. Mm-hmm. That's really our vision for the work that we do. And it's why we're driven. It's why Christy works so hard with Mickey's Miracles. And and she works hand in hand with families herself. We bring in families, and if there's a barrier to getting them to level 4, our job and her passion is to remove whatever those barriers are to make sure families get to a level 4 epilepsy center as urgently as possible, because every moment counts. Every moment can be the difference between a child living a beautiful, quality of life, or having permanent brain damage, or even worse, God forbid, and not making it. So we do our best to communicate the urgency of a correct diagnosis at the highest level of care possible, so that children can be seizure free.
Now, on the legislative side, because you said you had some background on and some experience with that, have you guys put together any legislations, any bills to help with your cause? Because for us, we had New York. One of the things that we were wrestling with is getting medicine to our son in school. So, and we had to create a bill to address this, because if one child, there may be many others who need access to like their cannabis medicine while in school. Now, the other issues that we've seen that, they don't have protocols for children who have seizures. And for us, we had to also get a para assistant for our son in school we had 1 year, the person who didn't have the experience. Now this year we have somebody who has experience of working with children with epilepsy. Now, do you see yourselves are looking for legislation around that area to help other children who might be in the same situation and in the schools?
Well, we had some success in the California legislature, and Michaela's birthday was basically designated, Pediatric Epilepsy Day in California.
Oh, yes, nice.
And that helped us in having conversations with decision makers about the barriers to care, the lacking in research funding in comparison to other neurological diseases that affect less children and less people generally. And we're now in the process of preparing what we're calling Mickey's Law in Nevada. And part of that is to assess the need for a level 4 epilepsy center in Nevada, because there isn't one. The nearest one is in Orange County, and the next closest one is in Salt Lake City. And those are hikes for families, that are in Nevada. We're also looking at educating child care providers and even educators on how to spot epilepsy with children, and looking for opportunities to work with legislative leaders and policymakers to reduce barriers to care, increase transparency in pricing for pharmaceuticals, of course, and work, to make sure the level of funding matches the danger that pediatric epilepsy presents to our families and to our children. We're going to call that Mickey's Law. It's going to be an omnibus bill, and our goal is to advance that this next legislative session in Nevada and Carson City.
Wow!
And we hope for it to be a national model. Honestly, we are ambitious, and like I said, our vision is that every child in the world gets to be seizure free, and that requires a lot of work. And if we have to do it state by state, we have the wherewithal and we have the ability to do it. Our vision is that we pass it in Nevada, and then other states kind of wake up, and we bring our efforts to other states and even the federal level, because it's that kind of a problem. And it's not something to be taken lightly. And we want people, including, decision makers, to understand that, when a parent hears a diagnosis of pediatric epilepsy, whether it's infantile spasms or some other form, that they understand it's so urgent and so dire that it's almost like they got a cancer diagnosis. Yeah. There's a certain alarm bell and sense of urgency and severity that people hear when it's something like cancer, but you don't get the same type of reaction when you hear it's a seizure or it's a pediatric epilepsy or it's infantile spasms, when we know that can be very dangerous and life-threatening in almost all circumstances. So we believe that the work we're going to do in Nevada will set the pace for a national conversation. And we believe there's going to be an opportunity for federal opportunities there for legislation and potentially even global. So that's our vision. I know it's a big vision, but we stand by the fact that every child gets to be seizure free. and we won't rest until that's the case.
Attention Cannabis Podcast listeners. You can now listen to your favorite cannabis podcast ad-free with the MJBulls mobile app. Just download the free MJBulls mobile app to your smartphone to start enjoying cannabis podcasts with no commercials. Go to Apple Apps or Google Play to get the MJBulls Cannabis Podcast app today.
Awesome. So you were saying, you happened to mention that, okay, in Nevada, you don't have an epilepsy medical center?
Level 4, right?
We don't have a level 4, which is the highest designation for a pediatric epilepsy center. In fact, we don't even have, private practice pediatric epileptologists in Nevada. I think in Las Vegas there might be 1 or 2 in private practice. We don't have a level 4, and obviously, Nevada, deserves to have those kind of resources for their children. And it's something that we're making a priority. We headquarter in Las Vegas, Nevada, and because of our ability to advocate and to really, champion legislative change and opportunities for legislation, we really are going to advance Mickie's Law here in Nevada as a first step, building on what happened in California, pass something of substance, and hope that creates a national model and a national conversation about what's possible in the terms of providing resources and access to care for families who have children suffering from pediatric epilepsy.
So how's the support been? I mean, community-wise, you're bringing all these people together. You would have more than likely see the amount of kids that are basically in need of what you guys are looking to do and bringing awareness to their, they're suffering as well. Like, how's that been? The numbers have grown?
Well, what we've seen is that most people aren't aware of how big of a problem it is and how many children are impacted and how few resources are available for families to treat their children with pediatric epilepsy. So when we have a conversation and we talk about the numbers, 1 in 26 people will experience a seizure or epilepsy in their lifetime. 1 in 26 people.
That's a lot.
Right? More people will die from epilepsy than from breast cancer on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
That puts that in serious perspective, and we understand, obviously, breast cancer is very serious, and when people hear of breast cancer, they treat it very seriously, yet, the funding for pediatric epilepsy, just epilepsy generally, which takes more lives than breast cancer does. There's less resources, there's less research opportunities, there's less general awareness among the public. So when we have these conversations with folks, they're astounded by how prevalent it is. They're astounded by, how little access there is. Like in Nevada, for example, no level 4 pediatric epilepsy center. And we generally, get a lot of support because it is something that is life-threatening, and it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
It can be, for the most part, it can be treated, and children can live a quality of life and can have their childhood preserved if you act urgently, if you have a treatment protocol that makes sense, for that child, or the child is being monitored, and if the parents, listen to their gut and really champion for their child and get them to the highest level resource as quickly as possible. That's what we do. That's what we help create an awareness and create a conversation and advocate with parents to make sure that the children get urgent diagnosis and the highest possible level of treatment.
Wow. It is so funny. It's like, it's one of the oldest neurological diseases in the Bible. And yet, people when you get the diagnosis, it's like you're suffering. You're just going, they don't know what to do in the beginning. And it's just sad to me that it being such an old neurological disease that we have to advocate, and we still are not getting funded.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I didn't realize and I was a legislator, and I served on Health and Human Services Committee. I served as the vice chair for the University Medical Center here in Clark County. I served as chairman for the Community Health Centers of Southern Nevada. So I had been in healthcare at one level or another for quite a long time. And when I first talked to Christy, and she told me the level of access and how prevalent and how dangerous pediatric epilepsy was, I was in. As not only is she an incredible leader, and you can feel her passion and her love for children, and how she pours out her energy to advocate for families. But no family should have to experience their child suffering from seizures to the point that they have no quality of life and can suffer permanent brain damage or even be lost. So when I first talked to Christy about it, and she told me the prevalence of it and what could be done to make sure that children have a quality of life, I was in. And we've worked together closely now for 2 years, and we've developed a strong relationship, and we're growing our mission. In fact, we're in the process of launching the MIND program for kids. Mm-hmm. And MIND is an acronym for Music Inspiring Neurological Development. Research shows that kids who have music therapy and they're at play have more neuroplasticity. Yes. They are able to develop, faster. They're able to recover more quickly. And music was a huge part of Mickie's recovery, working with Justine Chadley from In Harmony Music. And that's one of the programs we're launching in 2021. It's basically going to be available for all our Mickie's Warrior families and other organizations that have children with other neurological diseases, because we know that music and play are a wonderful recipe to go along with the proper treatment protocol in helping these children, their young minds and young brains develop and recover. So that's one of the things that we'll be doing in 2021, and we'll certainly keep you guys, updated on how that goes.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. So I'm a physical therapist, and I work with a lot of children with special needs, like a lot of children with on autistic spectrum. And we do a lot of music. And just recently, Aiden's school was offering violin lessons because they can't do it in person. They're doing it virtually. And at first I was like, ooh, I don't know. I said to Osiris, what should we do? So then I looked up the same thing, neuroplasticity in music, everything that your organization, the MIND organization, seems like it's mission for. And yeah, it comes up in all the literature, how music helps with neurodevelopment. So yeah,
right.
So he's about to start violin class. So
that's incredible.
Yeah,
we've been excited about. We were having a conversation with Christy and Justine Chadley, who works alongside a licensed music therapist, and we were talking about how important music and Justine's role in Mickie's recovery was. And on the spot, we came up with the name MIND, music inspiring neurological development, and are putting together a program for 2021 that, won't just be accessible, obviously, to Mickie's Warrior babies, but, really, we hope for it to be a national program that can have national participation. Nice. and really help, with neurological development in these young minds. It's a beautiful thing, and we're really, really excited for it.
Nice. Can't wait for it.
How many families have joined or are participating in your in Mickie's program?
I mean, we've helped several hundred families. Wow. And we've helped families in almost 20 states and I believe now 15 countries. And we're growing. We have a pretty active social media reach and following, and we get inquiries roughly every day from families who are looking for answers. And it's something that we take pride in, and we integrate very vertically with a family, meaning once they come into our program and we understand, what we need to do to advocate for them. We're with them every step of the way. If there's a barrier with insurance, we're on top of that. If there's too much of a wait time to get into a specific level 4 epilepsy center, we're very loud about getting our families in very quickly. If there are any barriers, whether it's transportation and or being able to get to somewhere with close proximity, we help solve those kind of problems. And it's an incredible responsibility that we have. And Christy manages that beautifully. Obviously, I support her. Our staff supports her. And it's a gift, really, to be able to use, Christy's experience and our organizational resources to help parents get some peace of mind and to help children be children. It's a gift for us to be able to do it. And we take it very seriously. We're humbled by it. We're guided, we think, divinely in our mission. And really, it's an opportunity of a lifetime to help these families and their children.
Let me ask you, how rewarding is it for you to be in this position, coming from, for-profit, the business industry, the music industry, and helping A-listers, to now you helping the everyday person and their family? Like, how has that made you feel, and what you've thought about that transition and what you're doing?
In my heart, I've always been a public servant. I was in the legislature at a young age. I was a county commissioner at a young age, and this is a story for another time. But I made some decisions that got myself in trouble, legally and criminally, for that matter. And I was not able to serve in public life anymore. I actually served federal prison time for my role in a political bribe scandal here in Las Vegas, and my ability to serve the public as an elected leader was rightly taken away from me. And I was in the private sector for some time. I had done some consulting with nonprofits, but to be able to serve families in this way is incredibly rewarding. And to see, a mom breathe a little bit easier because of the work Chrissy does. Wow. To advocate on behalf of her and her family and her child is incredibly rewarding. Knowing that, when we raise money, we're raising money to save children's lives and to preserve the quality of life and to let them experience a childhood like every child should. I mean, it's incredibly humbling. It's touching. It's inspiring. It's motivating, and gives me an opportunity to use, my God-given talent to support families in caring for their children. And it's an awesome responsibility, one we take seriously, and one that I'm incredibly grateful to be able to serve in.
Wonderful. Now, Dario, how would a family know that if their hospital is a level 4? Like, how would they know?
I mean, they're designated.
Okay.
Like chalk. Those that are level 4s. It's pretty apparent.
Okay.
We're developing a resource to list every level 4 epilepsy center in the country that we should launch basically on our website in the next month or two. But you can. That information is very rarely available. But I can't impress upon enough the importance of families, getting to a level 4 epilepsy center if they're not getting the answers they need from the pediatrician or from the local neurologist, and really seeing a pediatric epileptologist that can help them understand what's going on with their child and get them on the right path for treatment, so that the child, the quality of life can be preserved.
Got it. Yeah, because for us, we live in New York City, so we have a lot of major hospitals. So we happen to land in a level 4, but I don't think that's always the case for every child, and I don't think they would know to ask or know what to look for. So, but that's it's a good thing to know what to look for, because not everyone knows. Right,
yeah, and I mean, like in Nevada, we have a population of roughly 3 million people now, and we don't have a level 4 epilepsy center, right? We have one in Salt Lake City, and we have one in Orange County. Those are two that are nearest proximity to us, right? And And you think a state with the resources of Nevada, and we have 50 million visitors coming from outside of Nevada. And, for us not to have a level 4 epilepsy center speaks to the lack of access that exists across many states. So, like I said earlier, we're really going to push for Mickie's Law, which will include a push for a level 4 epilepsy center study and feasibility for Nevada. And hopefully that will serve as a national model to start having a conversation about where resources are available state by state and what we can do to make sure that every child, regardless of what state they live in, has access immediately to a level 4 epilepsy center.
Nice.
Now, have you guys partnered up with any hospitals to push the awareness, have them sponsor or promote what you're doing to connect with other hospitals to create a network?
Yeah, we basically have worked with a number of level 4 epilepsy centers across the country, and we've been very fortunate to develop strong relationships and to be able to advocate for our families, within those centers. We've partnered with CHOC, for example. We last year had a gala, and one of the beneficiaries of the donated proceeds was CHOC Children's Hospital of Orange County. And in fact, Mickie's name is on their lobby of their neurological center.
Wow.
So, we're always looking to grow our network. We're always looking to partner with level 4 epilepsy centers. And as we get more families reaching out to us, and as we in turn advocate for more families, the need to create those partnerships with pediatric epileptologists and level 4 epilepsy centers continues to grow. And it's something that's very high on our priority list to continue growing our network of level 4 epilepsy centers that we have access to, so that we can advocate for families across, every state and hopefully one day every country, for that matter.
Wow.
That's amazing. What you guys are doing is amazing because you're building something that wasn't there.
Yes.
And now is bringing so much awareness, and you've given people a place to go. I think for us, when our son first started developing the seizures, we really didn't recognize them because we knew nothing about seizures. Yes. So there was always those subtle signs that happen, and even through the whole process, we're still clueless to what's going on because everything's happening so quickly. And we didn't even know who to turn to. We didn't know who to talk to. It's like we were out on our own, and now knowing what we know now is like you're not alone. And with you guys and what you're doing with Mickie's Miracle is awesome because there are a lot of children out there who are suffering. There's a lot of families because it affects them as well that are suffering, and you guys are giving them a ray of hope, that, hey, you're not alone. We got your back, do reach out because a lot of them don't know who to turn to and don't even know what they're looking for, so it's like a lot of fear and anxiety that's going around.
Yeah, no, we I mean, that's very well said, and it's what we do. And to see, I handle a lot of the strategic planning and a lot of the fundraising and advancing the legislative efforts and creating partnerships. And Christy obviously is very hands-on, involved in all of those endeavors. But she's at her best when she's working with families. She dives in, she works to understand the history of the child and really has this passion for advocating for these families in a way that I haven't seen anyone advocate for anything really ever in my life. And it's because she, understands that, Mickie was able to get the help she needed. And I think part of what drives her is to ensure that every child gets that same opportunity. Every year we take a picture of Mickie with a seizure-free sign. This year it was, 8 years seizure-free. And I know Christy pours out her soul and prays that every parent with a child suffering from pediatric epilepsy can hold up a sign that says seizure-free one day. And it's really incredible to see. It's inspiring to me. And, we're not a big organization in terms of manpower, but we work beautifully together, and we all play our parts. And it just works because we care about what we do. And we know what we do is making a difference in the lives of children and their families. And we're tireless in our commitment to, having this vision for a world that has every child be seizure-free and epilepsy-free.
Yeah, it's amazing. I got to say thank you for what you guys are doing, because there's so many families that you're helping you probably didn't even know or even were aware of. And it's good to know that, there are people out there who have our backs, especially going through something like this. I just want to say thank you. And if families wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do so?
The best way to get in touch with us is on our social media, really. On Instagram, it's at Mickie's Miracles, MICKIES Miracles. Our website is mickiesmiracles.org. Our contact information is listed on there, and we welcome anyone who has questions, who needs support, who has had trouble getting to a level 4 epilepsy center, or really struggling with any issue related to pediatric epilepsy. We're here for you. We invite you to become part of our family. We invite you to follow us on social media. We invite you to visit our website, and we also extend this offer to you. We will support you. We will offer our expertise, our experience, our passion, and our heart, and hold your hand through every part of the process to ensure that you experience a result like Mickie has experienced. Now, obviously, we're not medical professionals, and we're at the mercy of medical professionals, and every child is different. But we are committed to working with families in a way that they feel supported,
Yes.
They feel guided, they get the access they need, and they have every opportunity for their child to be seizure-free.
Thank you. And I have to say, Dario, personally, thank you for the transition you made to this side and using your talents and your experience to bring awareness to the forefront, because I think no one else would have been able to do it the way you can because of your background, your ability to, move about and get the word out, basically. So thank you. I
appreciate that. I feel grateful, honestly. And, with my background, obviously there's a lot of benefits to my background, but, with my history, there's some risks too. And I talked to Christy and Gabe about that, and they gave me an opportunity to lead the organization, even knowing that, when I was 25 or 26, I had those legal issues, and, they looked past that. They gave me a second chance. They trusted me with the leadership of the organization and working alongside them. And it's been a gift. And like I said, I consider them family. I consider Mickie, family. And it's been a beautiful blessing for me. And it quite frankly quenches a thirst for public service that I was missing. Awesome. All the accolades and all the credit goes to Christy and Gabe for being so forward thinking, and for being so loving and forgiving, and for giving me a chance. And we've been able to do some great work together. We have a lot more to do. Yeah. We have legislation to pass in Nevada. We have national legislation to pass. We have this music program that we will make into a national model. And our next thing we're going to tackle is mental health, because we know how taxing this can be on families.
Oh, yes.
And their mental health and their emotional security and their emotional ability. And after we tackle mind and we launch that, our next major program is going to be supporting families through mental health offering. And that's something that's not talked about a lot, something that is kind of stigmatized, but it's very real.
It is.
And can oftentimes tear a family apart. And it's bad enough that you have a child with something that you can't solve yourself. To add the emotional angst of it and the emotional anxiety and the toll that takes on a family, that's even more difficult, and even adds a level of complication that we need to have a conversation about, and we need to start providing solutions for. And that's one of the things that we're going to tackle in 2021 as well.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's going to be great, because and that's what we also talk about on our podcast. It's the relationships. How does grandma feel about this? Having a child epilepsy takes a toll on the whole family. It's not
Right.
just the mom and dad, but yes, but definitely the mom and dad. But it's hard for everyone. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys are going into that family support and the mental health.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Dario. I really appreciate your time and spending it with us and really sharing the mission and what you guys are doing with Mickey's Miracle. Sounds like you guys are on track to really expand this and reach a lot of people and help a lot of people, families out there who are in need.
Osiris and Nina, we appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to talk about what we're doing and how we help families. And really, I want to take a moment to recognize you guys too, because you guys are having these conversations, right? And you have your own experience with Aiden, and you've learned the hard way that this is not easy, right? But you've stayed with it, and you've given him the support, and you've opened up avenues for treatment, like with CBD, that is an important part of this conversation. Beyond what traditional medicine can provide. And it's incredible to see the leadership you're providing, the conversations you guys are having, and the minds you're opening by what you do. So we're grateful for you, and the opportunity to be on here is really a gift for us. So we thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I hope to have you guys back on. We definitely going to be following you guys on social media. And if the time or the day allows us, and when we, get some sense of something, normalcy, travel out west and visit you guys and see what you guys.
Yeah, we'd love to see you. We'd love to have you here and show you our office and talk to some of the families that we've been blessed to have as part of our Mickey's Warriors. And really, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful organization. It's very family centered, and we would invite you to come along with us anytime. Right. Anytime.
Definitely would take that invite. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a beautiful night. Thank you again for the invitation. And, keep up the great work. Keep up, driving the conversations. These conversations matter. It drives awareness. It drives information.
Yes.
And it really inspires, I think, a new kind of conversation around something that is curable, something that is treatable.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think as more people understand that and can really kind of wrap their head around the fact that, epilepsy awareness is lacking, epilepsy funding is lacking, but it doesn't have to. And as more people become aware of that, I think the movement grows. Yes. And we create more hope for parents who have children suffering from epilepsy. And again, provide a quality of life for children and preserving their childhood in a way that, every child deserves.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's all about the children. Thank you again, Dario. Really appreciate it. And continue with your strong leadership and guiding Mickey's Miracles organization into the future. I mean, even long after, it still be standing, and people will continue to support it.
You got it, Osiris. Thank you, and thank you again, Nina.
All right,
Great.
thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Have a good one.
All right, have a blessed night. Thank you.
You too.